A young woman's dream cruise turns into a fight for her life. A scam costs a cruiser thousands, and a ship gets turned away from port. Buckle up as we dive into some wild cruise stories hitting headlines this week. Ahoy, travelers! It's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. Once again, we see a petition to limit cruise ships in Alaska. This time, it was a petition to limit visits in Juneau, Alaska, which has failed to move forward after it didn't gather enough signatures by the May 19th deadline. Now, the petition, filed back in April, aimed to cap daily large cruise ships at 5. And they'll limit daily visitors to 16,000 with just 12,000 on Saturdays and set an annual cap of 1.5 million guests. They also wanted to restrict the cruise season from May through September. Now, this needed 2,720 signatures from Juneau voters, but it fell short, meaning it's not going to appear on the fall 2025 municipal ballot. Now, some of you may remember last year when a similar vote rejected a ship-free Saturday proposal. Local businesses reliant on tourism opposed the measure, while some residents supported it to preserve Juneau's charm. Meanwhile, plans for a 5th cruise ship dock in downtown Juneau, led by the Huna Totem Corporation, are moving ahead for 2026. This definitely signals continued growth in the city's cruise industry. So I don't think we need to worry about not being able to go to Juneau anytime soon. Our second story is a tragic one. A 22-year-old cruise passenger, Hannah Smith, was critically injured during a shore excursion in Nassau, Bahamas last week while returning from Pearl Island on a ferry. So the recent college graduate from Memphis, Tennessee, was celebrating on board the Carnival Sunrise with her friend. She fell overboard while returning from an excursion and was caught in the ferry's propellers. This caused severe leg injuries and significant blood loss. Her friend and another passenger were able to pull her from the water, but she required immediate medical attention. Now, after 2 emergency surgeries in Nassau, Hannah was airlifted to the U.S. on the 14th, where she's undergone at least 6 procedures and remains in critical condition. So the Royal Bahamas Police Force is investigating this, and they noted that the ferry captain immediately put the engine into neutral, which can usually slow the speed of the propellers and sometimes even lock them. However, it was too late for Hannah. So Hannah's family denies claims from law enforcement that she was intoxicated and or jumped. They emphasized it was an accidental fall, and her mother stated, "Do they have fun? Yes. Were they drunk? No. Did she jump? No. Are we completely aware of what happened? No." I'm not sure how you can say you don't know what happened and also definitely say these certain things didn't happen. Anyway, a GoFundMe has been set up where they're hoping to raise $250,000 to support her ongoing recovery. In better news, cruising isn't going away anytime soon. Now, this is something many of us are going to be happy about after turbulent years during and after the shutdown. A new 2025 CLIA report shows how the cruise industry is booming, projecting 37.7 million passengers this year. Cruising isn't just for the elderly either, attracting a diverse crowd with Gen X and millennials leading the charge. So the Caribbean remains the top destination, followed by the Mediterranean and Alaska, with Asia and the Canary Islands seeing rapid growth. The report notes 82% of cruisers plan to sail again, and 68% of international travelers are considering their first cruise. The industry's economic impact is significant, generating $168 billion with the B globally and supporting 1.6 million jobs. Cruise lines are also innovating with sustainable technologies and tailored experiences to meet rising demand, especially among younger and first-time cruisers. Our fourth story sees one ship being denied entry when the Sun Princess, a Princess Cruises ship carrying over 4,000 passengers, was denied docking in Crete, Greece on May 22nd due to a suspected norovirus outbreak on board. Local authorities, prioritizing public health, barred the ship from the port just 30 minutes before passengers were supposed to debark. And this was after reports that passengers and crew had been experiencing vomiting and diarrhea. So the ship, on a 14-night Mediterranean voyage from Italy, was rerouted to spend the day at sea. Princess Cruises implemented enhanced sanitation measures, including frequent cleaning and passenger health screenings. And this is in order to contain the outbreak. Now, I know that there are people out there who put down cruising for this very reason, calling them floating petri dishes. However, cruise lines are required to notify the CDC when they have an outbreak, even a really small one. So other public places are not required to do that. Hotels don't have to do that. Resorts don't have to do that. And in my opinion, it's a little unfair to the cruise industry. So the best way to stay healthy, even on a ship with an outbreak, is to wash your hands all the time. I think the major place that people forget is when they get food from the buffet. Don't just wash your hands before walking into the buffet. Wash them after getting your food and before you eat your food. You may have washed your hands before walking into the buffet, but not everyone does. And hand sanitizer, wipes, they don't cut it with norovirus. You need soap. Well, our last story serves as a warning to cruisers. Norwegian Cruise Line has issued a warning about a sophisticated phone scam that cost one passenger nearly $20,000. A scammer posing as an NCL Air Department representative contacted the guest falsely, associating themselves with NCL's Miami operations in order to arrange flights for a group cruise. So the victim split the payments across 2 credit cards, which were later compromised. The con artist even had the nerve to call back a month later, saying that they'd located lower cost flights and offered to refund the original charges and wanted 2 new credit card numbers for the new flights. An NCL employee shared this incident on Reddit, urging cruisers to avoid sharing reservation details publicly as scammers can exploit this information. NCL's legitimate calls come from a 305 or 954 area code, not the 301 area code that this one had come from. The employee advised questioning unexpected calls and asking for details that only the cruise line should know, like what is your balance that's due, and then booking directly through NCL or trusted travel agents to avoid any kind of fraud like this. So this scam highlights the need for vigilance, especially with rising cruise-related fraud targeting passengers. Cruisers need to be careful with sharing information on social media, as well as double checking that anyone contacting them is actually from the cruise line. You may remember how one cruiser shared her booking ID and cabin number on social media last year, just right before sailing. It was enough information for someone to call the cruise line and cancel her $12,000 sailing just one day prior to embarkation. And I don't know if that person changed the reservation into their name or if they just canceled it altogether and didn't even see any benefit themselves. They were just doing it to be malicious. Well, are you one of those people who post about your vacation prior to leaving? Now, I used to be one who wouldn't post about vacation until I was back. I didn't say I was going and I didn't say I was there. I did all this for safety reasons. Now I may post while I'm on vacation, and anything I post prior to leaving is vague. But what about you? How do you deal with social media and vacationing? Let me know. Well, on to our life update for the Fowl Farm. Been doing a lot of Fowl Farm updates lately. It's really what's going on around here. It's spring, of course. So last week I mentioned that I thought I had a broody duck, but then later decided I was wrong. Now I have 2 broody ducks. The one I thought was broody was just sitting on the nest part-time, and so I really was like, is she not? I wasn't sure. Her sister, however, is doing a much better job and is staying on the eggs most of the day. They get up a couple times to eat, get a drink, but she's staying on it most of the day. And at night, they're both sharing the nest. It's pretty cute. I guess we'll see if anything happens. I still don't know what I'm going to do because I've got duck eggs in the incubator. And they should all hatch around the same time, maybe a week apart. We'll see. On a sad note, those following the saga of Stella the rescue duck will want to know that she has been missing most of the week. Either she has a hidden nest somewhere and she's sitting on it and just never getting off, unlikely. She ran off, possible. I mean, I did find her just walking down the road. Or sleeping in the middle of the yard finally caught up with her. R.I.P. Stella. The first batch of chicks that I hatched out this year, some of you will remember that, are finally big enough to join the rest of the flock. Half went to new homes and doing very well, and the rest I kicked out of the grow out pen yesterday, and they're now making the adjustment to the big coop and the other chickens. And you may have heard, I'm not sure how much the mic picks up, but I've got baby chicks that are about 2 weeks old at this point in the room next door. Now, I'm not sure how many of you out there are getting all the rain we've been inundated with, but I'm about over it. We had some sun on Friday. It was so nice. We were able to finally work on my backyard and fix where my water lines had been dug up months ago. It's been a disaster area. The timing was perfect, though, because we were able to get the ground level, new topsoil added, seeded right before it rained. Plus, my chickens, by the time we got done, it was time for them to go up, and they really didn't have time to mess up all the hay before the rain could fall and settle all that hay down and make it less likely for them to scratch it all over the place. I mean, they're going to a little bit, but some of that will just be beneficial to getting the seed planted. Well, I'm hoping that the grass grows quickly, and with all this rain, it should. I'm so tired of my backyard being a disaster zone. Well, I hope everyone has a great week, and those of us getting rain get to dry out a little bit. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video, and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.